In 2024, I ended up with 1,389 laps on 218 different coasters at 62 different parks. Alpine coasters accounted for 21 laps and 10 different coasters. So if you don't count those, you can subtract those numbers from my count. But either way, this is a new personal record for me. I wasn't trying to top my previous record as I entered November with a little over 800 laps. My mid-November 2-week trip to Dollywood, Atlanta, and Florida, SeaWorld and Busch Gardens got me over 400 laps at parks where I basically never encountered a line for anything. Then I had more luck on my long weekend in San Antonio in December. Before that, I was seeing some of the biggest crowds I've ever seen at amusement parks, which tells me that they're getting to be more and more popular. So most of us will probably struggle to beat previous year's totals in the years to come unless you plan very carefully or are able to have more park visits than before. Another big contributing factor to my count is that I had the Six Flags All Season All Parks Flash Pass, which probably got me 150 extra laps, if not more, compared to not having it. That did skew some of my results. Other differences when compared to previous years is that I did not have a season pass to Silver Dollar City, and I made 0 visits to the Legacy Cedar Fair parks. So for the first time in 7 years, my beloved Prowler will not be on the list. Here are my honorable mentions. Tiebreakers will go in favor of the ride that I had the least amount of days at. New Texas Giant only being in the honorable mentions is shocking since I had Flash Pass and I can go to that park often, but it had a lot of issues on my visits. We'll start off the main list with one that I just had to highlight, Tornado at Stricker's Grove in the Cincinnati area. This park only has a few operating days a year and I got 19 laps on my only day there, and this was my 700th coaster credit. Next is a 3-way tie for 14th place, all with 20 laps. Titan at Six Flags Over Texas, where I had plenty of time at the park. Then X-Flight at Six Flags Great America. For both of those, I got most of my laps shortly after rope drop, knowing that Flash Pass doesn't help a lot with them, but it does on my other favorites at those parks. Also with 20 laps is Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England over 2+ days. There's no chance I'd get this many without Flash Pass on that visit. Next, we have 2 rides with 21 laps. Texas Stingray at SeaWorld San Antonio has plenty of time when it won't have a line. Also with 21 laps, but in just 2 days, is Mako at SeaWorld Orlando, which often can have short lines or no lines, especially on school days. 11th place is Goliath at Six Flags Great America with 22 laps. With all single rider lines gone at Six Flags parks, thank you Cedar Fair, there's no way that I get to this total without Flash Pass, as this park is always very crowded. In 10th place is Thunderhead at Dollywood with 25 laps. Visiting on school days, and especially with it being 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, meant no lines on anything here, and Thunderhead typically moves people through very quickly. In 9th place is Dr. Diabolical's Cliffhanger at Six Flags Fiesta Texas with 26 laps. Flash Pass was not needed here, but ERT sessions helped a ton to reach this mark. 8th place goes to Mr. Freeze at Six Flags Over Texas with 27 laps, and Flash Pass was a big help here. If I were to combine the 2 Mr. Freezes from both parks, that would be 41 laps. 7th place is Poltergeist at Six Flags Fiesta Texas with 28 laps. Most of those didn't need Flash Pass, as I mostly rode it during visits when the crowds were light or early in the day. 6th place is Superman the Ride at Six Flags New England with 29 laps over 2+ days. Several of these did not need Flash Pass, but it did come in handy for most, as the park was much busier this time than my first visit in 2019. 5th place is Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens Tampa with 30 laps over 3 days. I forgot how much fun this one is to marathon, and it did not have a line the entire time I was there, which was on school days, a full week before Thanksgiving. I was even able to stay on the train multiple times. 4th place is Iron Gwazi, also at Busch Gardens Tampa, with 32 laps over 3 days. This also had no line the entire time, and I got a few re-rides. It broke down for a while on one of my days, otherwise this count would be closer to 40. 3rd place is Airy Force 1 at Fun Spot Atlanta, with 38 laps over 2 days. For the second straight year, this ride comes in 3rd place, and both years it was 38 laps. If you've been here, you know how easy it is to get a lot of rides on what may be the best coaster in the country, as it rarely gets a line, even on weekends. 2nd place is Lightning Rod at Dollywood with 40 laps over 5 days. I could have easily gotten more if I wasn't riding everything else a ton and going to all the shows. This never had a line the whole time, and even without the launch, it is still an elite coaster that's worthy of a ton of laps. And my most ridden coaster of the year is also a new personal record for me. It goes to Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas with 120 laps. I did have a ton of time here, and Flash Pass helped so much, and I had a few ERT sessions. I also ran into times when there was no line at all, and I was able to get plenty of re-rides. At one point, I did 9 in a row without getting off. A couple days later, I did 7 in a row. I had 8 days with double digits. This count of 120 beat the 105 that I got on Iron Gwazi 2 years ago, which I accomplished without any skip-the-line benefits and in fewer park days. But this is the 4th straight year that Iron Rattler is in my top 2 most ridden coasters for the year. And I am now at 387 lifetime laps, which is my most ridden coaster by more than 180 over the second place Prowler. My top 4 of the year are all RMCs, no surprise there. Here's the ride count for each of the 13 that I got to ride this year. Almost 24% of all my rides were on RMCs. Here is my breakdown by manufacturer. The top 4 here all surpassed their respective totals from last year. This all shows just how much I love statistics, but it also gives an insight when it comes to my rankings of coasters, as any great experiences I've had on a ride will give it a boost, but also the not so great experiences, such as waiting in long lines, can drop a ride in my rankings, often significantly. So let me know in the comments about what your most ridden coasters on the year were, whether you kept track of the exact numbers or not. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.